Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 7th day of November 2018. Well, we have a little magic sandwiched in with our illumination today. Sevens are about balance and the resting point and resolving your shadow side with your spiritual side, which I think maybe we did yesterday a little bit in that election. It changed the balance of things, which was great, at least from my standpoint. 100 new women, or I don't know about new women, but 100 women now, I heard, are going to be in the Congress next January when they're sworn in. And we didn't take back the Senate, but that's okay. I've always ruled the House is kind of where it's at. The Senate is probably a goal for a lot of them, but I don't know. I think the House of Representatives is, I think we have our greatest body right there. They can be unruly, they can be unpredictable, but it's never boring. It's been a little frightening. So I think that we'll see a lot of that come to an end now. It's looking like we're not going to have to worry too much about our pre-existing conditions not being covered. So I don't know. Looks like maybe Social Security and Medicare are safe for a little while longer. I don't know why we got to do this to ourselves, you know. I don't know why we have to think that having a social safety net for the citizens of a country, you pay in taxes so that you have roads and schools and government and all of that, you know. The politicians sure get their salaries paid for, but when it comes time to do things that make sense to do, you know, we're not all in this alone. You know, we're all part of the greater aspect, the unified presence of source energy. So we're not in this alone. And we should never, ever think that we should be. We should always be able to depend on others if something happens. That there should always be people ready to say, what can we do to help? Now, maybe they can't, you know, replace your home or something like that. Say you have a fire, you know. But maybe they can give you a couch to sleep on for a night, or maybe they can, you know, loan you something. But it's that neighborly feeling that just always seems to happen, doesn't it? You know, when we see caravans of guys with boats going down to areas that have had flooding due to, you know, hurricanes or whatever, you know. It's just the coolest feeling, isn't it? To see people get together and go. I mean, they don't even live there. They come from other states. They just go and they help. When Katrina happened, same sort of thing. We were in business at the time, and one of our vendors, he was a machinist. He did some stuff and made these custom, you know, stuff that he did. Anyway, he and a couple of the guys that worked for him, well, yeah, I think they left a couple people there, but they didn't have a very big crew anyway. But the boss and two of the guys that worked for him, they went down there. They spent like 3 weeks down there doing whatever they needed to be done. Hey, we're here. Use us. We can be here for about 3 weeks. Well, actually, I think they were only going to be there for 2, but they stayed for another. So, you know, this is who we are. There's no reason our government can't reflect that. You know, we don't need to be at each other's throats. So even though the Democrats took back the House, I think what's more interesting, it's the 100 women that are there now, that are going to be there in January. That's the interesting part. Maybe you'll start to see a little less toxicity, you know, a little too much toxic masculinity these days. So maybe we'll see some changes. So today, you know, it's the 7th day of November, so have a little balance to your life. Let's count 13 and see what we have today. Let's see, there's 3, 4, get the light back on. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. So we have the Hanged Man. Now, the Hanged Man is part of the major arcana. For those of you who aren't familiar with tarot as much, we have court cards, which are technically, I guess, part of the minor arcana. Those are the small cards, your suits, your, air elemental ones, air, fire, water, earth, cups, wands, swords, and pentacles. But beginning in it, you have the major arcana. And it begins with the Fool and ends with either the world or the universe, depending on which deck you're using. But here, this is the 12th card of the major arcana. So numerologically and energetically, it's a 3. So it's catalytic energy. And if you look here, let's see if I can do this right. You've got 1, 2, 3. You've got 1, 2, 3. Well, I don't think I did that in front of the camera there. So 1, 2, 3. So you and down here you have his you can see the halo around his head. Now in the more pagan decks or Celtic decks like Druidcraft and decks like that, you would normally see this as Odin. But the idea of the Hanged Man is to come to the inner stillness within and surrender. It's allowing, it's surrender. It's just surrendering to the source presence within. It's letting loose of everything that no longer serves you. It's letting loose of the polarity, just letting go of all of that, and just coming to balance and allowing spirit to inform and enlighten. I mean, as you don't think of surrender as catalytic, do you? But surrendering to who you are may be the most catalytic thing you can do, because there you're fully imbued with source presence, aren't you? It's when you let ego, take over, that you scatter. And right now, in our country at least, we've been really, really scattered. We don't know which end is up half the time. And you've got everyone at everyone else's throats, and you've got everybody arguing with everybody and seeing everybody as the other. And so polarity is just, gone out of control. But on this 7-day, it's interesting that it follows the election, where 6 I view as more of a higher self energy informing. And then you have on the 7, you resolve the that creeping in ego, so the shadow side of self with spirit. I view it as the scales pictorially, visually, where you would be in the center resting point today, the 4, 3 on each side, of the scales. You've got the 2 pans, so you'd have 3 and 3, and then in the middle you'd have 4. But let's see what the rune has to say, because it's interesting, even though this is a 7 and then this goes down to a 3, reduces to a 3 numerologically. Together that's that'd be 10, that'd be 1, that'd be new beginnings. So in a way, we have some new beginnings. And then Vunyo, which is, let's see, the 8th rune of the Elder Futhark. We're talking about practical matters. So, practically speaking, when we don't have a balance in this country, then we have a lot of things running amok. Things can, reason, number 1, goes right out the window. Well, Vunyo is the wish rune, or not the wish rune, but the happily ever after rune. It's about joy and fellowship and harmony. And so is the 8. So if we're going to look at this as an 8 numerology, that sort of energy is about practical manifestation and joy. So in a sense, after coming through the chaos and making the decision yesterday, now we can sit back and think about what we truly want in life, who we truly are, how we need to be expressing ourselves. And the rune is telling us that we need to be doing that in joy and harmony and fellowship with others. That this shouldn't be a time, although I'm sure it will be for some, but this should be a time where we can kind of heave a sigh of relief. Where maybe, it's like you hear the expression, and I don't actually care for it, but because I think it just brings a really icky feeling, but you stop the bleeding. And maybe in a sense we've stopped that, and now we can come to center and come to our still point and allow for the truth of all of it to really be revealed. In a sense, we've kind of been in this holding pattern since the special counsel was invoked. And now we know that a lot of things are coming to fruition. There's been a lot of indictments. There's been people that have been either pled guilty or have been found guilty, and they're just awaiting sentencing. Some have already done, I guess one or two have already done their time. Some are waiting yet to find out how much time they're going to do. But one thing is certain, it's not over with. And so now, in a sense, the pressure is off. We don't have to worry any longer, about certain things happening. So the illumination process can now continue, because it isn't going to serve anybody that's, involved in any of this potentially, that's caught up in it. It isn't going to serve them well to get rid of the special counsel or anyone else at this point. Whatever has happened in this country vis-a-vis the last election, not yesterday's, but the one before, whatever that was, we need to know. Sorry about that, but we need to know. Even if the ultimate thing is, it just happened. It wasn't any of us, Because here's the thing, if nobody did anything wrong and they know that, then why wouldn't they want this to continue? Get it over with, get it done, move on. Well, I think because somebody did something. I don't know who it was. We're going to find out, though. That's what this year is all about. This is the year for illumination. We got to see some really strange sides of ourselves, didn't we? And now yesterday's election, maybe it didn't completely reset everything, but it put us in a different position now so that truth can be preserved, so that the investigation can be preserved. We still don't know what will happen, do we? But in time we will. But in the meantime, if we can just come to our still point and stop reacting to things, just let things be, and sit in an observation position now and watch this unfold. Because now I think we're going to find out. So all of this should be coming to a close soon, or at least in terms of the investigation itself, to where we know now what we need to do and what direction we need to go. It's almost like, well, not almost like, we've been held in this limbo. That's no fun, because everybody wants to know. And I mean, and boy, oh boy, that guy don't tell nobody anything. He doesn't want them to know. And so you don't hear anything. You have to speculate, which doesn't do anybody any good. So I don't know. But it's interesting, the hanged man coming to center, allowing for spirit to inform, and then, living in our highest joy, as Bashar would say. I think that that's really what we need to do now. We can let the contest be over, because it is. And now we can come together And if we can't do that, then maybe we can just stop the vitriol. The guy in the Oval Office made some comment to a reporter when asked, what would you do differently? And he said, well, I might change my tone. Or I'm paraphrasing, he didn't actually say it like that, but he talked about his tone. You think? Because, his tone has incited people to do bad things, haven't they? Really, really, really bad things. And he doesn't want to be responsible for that. Well, maybe you saw a little breaking through there. But typically, moments like that are fleeting and they don't last. So we'll see. We'll see. So for today, I guess just be still, find your still point, reflect, allow spirit to inform, and try to stay as much as possible in your highest joy, whether you were happy about the outcome of yesterday's election or not. We have to make that shift away from all of the chaos and all of the negative feeling. And if you can't actively contribute to harmony, at least don't detract from it. At least come to a neutral standpoint and observe. You might end up being surprised by what you see. Where you thought was the devil maybe doesn't exist. So, get your head out of it, get your heart out of it, and just come to a neutral standpoint and let things unfold and observe. So, something to think about. Anyway, thanks so much for stopping by. Check out my blog at steppingaside@imsteppingaside.com. I put these over there on the little left side panel of the page, up near the top. So they're right there. But yeah, I mean, I think drawing the hangman today and Vunyo together really is telling us the chaos is not healthy. It's not healthy for our bodies to be constantly angry, to be constantly raging, to be, experiencing all these triggers. Whatever we can do to bring calm, we need to do that. So thanks again. Click subscribe if you like. I'd love you to come back. Thanks to everybody who has been with me all this time. I haven't been doing this all that long. I think I started this channel maybe in July. I'm not sure. Anyhow, I'm hoping to start doing some other things besides this, though, on it. I've done a few things besides this on it. I've talked about cannabis. I've talked about being an empath and all of that. So I also have done some herbalism stuff, and I think I'm going to do a little more of that. So I hope you come back, and thanks again for watching. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and blessed be.